January 18, 2013, Jeff Lockhart Jr., a 29-year-old picker at an Amazon warehouse, was found unconscious on the third floor, buried beneath shelves stuffed with Tupperware and heating pads. In most companies, this would have been a rare and shocking case, but after digging deeper, I discovered that this in an Amazon warehouse is just one of thousands of strokes and injuries recorded. These are not just numbers on a screen. These are real people with lives and stories.
He suffered a stroke in the warehouse on Thanksgiving. I couldn't believe that there was no support for him.
In the US, we have almost every state has an operation in it, and people come to work because these are great jobs.
We're all fed up. It's gotten to this point. It's been boiling up for about 2 years now. It's gotten to the point where we're about to erupt.
Amazon workers in St. Peter's are now demanding better treatment after filing a federal complaint that their work conditions are unsafe.
They are, if you're giving great customer experience, there's the only way to do that is with happy people.
We work like a dog there. We work very hard.
We have no future if we don't take matters into our own hands and take back our lives from a company that continue to dehumanize us for the sake of profit.
I would love for it to be after I'm dead.
Everywhere we go. How is no one cares? That's not right.
You can't do it with a set of miserable people.
Nobody seemed to care. And he came right back to operate that piece of machinery that he suffered a stroke on.
After seeing all this, I couldn't help but search for more. I wanted answers. 3 things kept coming up: AI surveillance, quotas, and TOTs. Amazon fulfillment centers are the engines of the company. Millions of orders have to be picked, packed, and shipped to customers in the shortest time possible. But here's where everything takes a dark turn. Amazon's founder Jeff Bezos believed that with time, employees are inherently lazy. So he had Jeff Wilke, the CEO of Global Consumer, build an AI system that tracks every employee during their shifts. Each employee had a set quota. Some were required to pick and pack from 1,200 and 1,500 items per shift. That's roughly 200 items per hour. If an employee fails to meet their rate, the AI automatically terminates them for quote, failure to meet productivity rates. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Here's a list I found from August 2017 to September 2018. It's a list of people fired in a few facilities for productivity. Multiply this by almost 75 nationwide facilities in the country, and you realize that Amazon is firing almost 10% of its staff for having a bad day at work. And what happens when you meet your rate? It's just increased, and failure to meet the new quota still means termination. The system even tracks time off task. Imagine this: you have 8 minutes to go to the bathroom and back, but from your station to the nearest bathroom is about 9 football fields. If you take too long, you're at risk of losing your job.
We've had over 100 EMS responses to the building, and a majority is dehydration or employees passing out because they're afraid if you drink more water, then you go to the bathroom. If you go to the bathroom, then you're going to be written up for time off task.
You can get extremely hot in there. It can get up, you can usually feel like it's somewhere around 80, 90 degrees.
In another case in 2019, a man by the name Billy Foster lost his life at an Amazon warehouse in Bessemer. A few hours before this, he had approached HR and requested to leave because he didn't feel well. HR denied his request and Billy was forced to go back to work. He later suffered a heart attack and lay on the floor for almost 20 minutes before anyone noticed.
A coworker of mine, he went up to this one manager and asked him, what happened with the man who passed away? Management told him straight to his face, "I don't know what you're talking about."
A few hours after this incident, another worker collapsed and died at the same facility.
It was March, the start of the pandemic. We didn't know anything. It was jam-packed, business as usual, people coughing, sweating, Some people even vomiting at their workstations. But we just kept working, because that's what we were told to do.
This is Chris Smalls. In 2021, Chris, along with Marion Costa, Emily Cunningham, and a few more warehouse employees, walked out of their facilities to protest against the inhumane working conditions at Amazon. They were demanding for safer working conditions, especially with the pandemic.
On Staten Island, Amazon workers walked out of the fulfillment center warehouse on Gulf Avenue. Workers claim that the company is not doing enough to protect them from coronavirus. More than 4,000 workers recently signed a petition calling on Amazon to provide every worker with 100% paid leave to stay if needed.
A few days later, they were all terminated by Amazon. But the most interesting part about this is that on record, none of these people were terminated for holding protests or meetings. Chris Morse was fired for allegedly leaving quarantine after being exposed to a sick worker. Ironically, Chris Morse was advocating for the safety of workers during the pandemic.
The only thing we can do to fix it is close the building. Okay, sir. You have the only thing. Yes. Let me look into that. Let me work with, let me provide this feedback upwards. Thanks a lot for letting us know. Give us some time, because in this moment, like right now, we cannot make
time is of the essence right now. People die by the hour.
Guys, you came in, you got to speak, right? You want an answer, doesn't come with you guys speaking over us. 2, we don't make that decision at the site level whether we close or not. Let me be clear. You're also following directions of the CDC, which every single company is. I'm telling you right now. You guys, I'm not going to continue this. We're done with this conversation.
Right, okay, that's what we got to say.
So you're done.
Okay, that's it.
Because you can't keep going this
July 12, 2021, at about 1:45 a.m., someone called 911 to report a man walking in the middle of the highway in Terrell.
Terrell 911.
Family just walking down the middle of the road.
Alright, listen, somebody out there.
Hope they get their voices here.
A few minutes later, another caller reported hitting what they thought was a deer.
911.
I just ended up hitting a deer or something.
But it wasn't a deer, it was Jonathan Hearn, an Amazon delivery driver. Hours before this incident at about noon, Hearn had been pulled over by an officer in an Amazon delivery truck for reckless driving.
We had a couple of complaints on your driving.
Did you? Yeah. Okay.
But since he appeared sober, he was sent on his way. This, however, was not the first time he had encountered an officer for his driving.
Everybody okay?
Yeah.
I imagine you're a little shook up.
At 1:15 a.m., an hour after that, a homeowner in Texas called 911 about an Amazon truck that had driven through her yard and gotten stuck. A state trooper then arrived and found Hearn and the truck still in the woman's yard.
Okay. Your sentences are coherent, you're not stumbling, I don't smell anything. The story is kind of disturbing. Do you have PTSD or something?
I do have PTSD, but it's never been an issue.
I think you should take the rest of the day off and talk to your employer.
What the state trooper didn't know was that Jonathan had gone days without his PTSD medication. Still concerned, the trooper decided to follow him as he drove off. And once again, Hearn was unable to drive safely. So he got pulled over by the cop, who then called Hearn's supervisors at Triumph Logistics, a company contracted by Amazon for package delivery. After some time, the supervisors arrived and picked Hearn up. So the question is, why was Hearn still on the road almost 11 hours after this incident? When the supervisors picked him up, they drove back to the Amazon facility in Forney and signed Hearn in under another driver's name, then put him back on the road to continue delivering packages across North and East Texas. This was the biggest mistake his supervisors could have made. Screenshots of Hearn's text to his co-workers and supervisors show that he needed help immediately. The supervisors were concerned, but didn't take him off the road. Hearn even began filling trash into the packages he was supposed to deliver. This was alarming. At 8:25 p.m., Hearn safely returned to the Amazon facility, took his truck and proceeded to drive off aimlessly until his truck ran out of gas in the middle of the highway. As he tried to cross to the gas station on the other side of the highway, he was struck and lost his life. Another former delivery driver at Triumph Logistics also had an incident where she was put behind the wheel with only one eye functioning. The biggest problem, however, is that Amazon is not liable for any damages or injuries caused by their delivery drivers. By contracting logistic companies to deliver their packages, these companies become liable for every accident caused by their drivers. But Amazon still imposes quotas on their drivers, all while being monitored by Amazon's AI surveillance system that tracks them during their shifts. All this just raised more and more questions in my head and got me even more curious. How did Amazon end up like this? And what else could they be hiding from us? And there was no better place to start than its founder.
Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, worth nearly $140 billion.
Well, for the first time in 3 years, Jeff Bezos is once again the world's richest person.
Jeff Bezos made $11.5 million every hour of the pandemic, and yet he shared almost none of it with warehouse workers.
So I found this memo that Jeff sent to his employees in 2002. It's famously known as the API mandate. There's one point in this memo that led me to some genuinely interesting discoveries about Jeff Bezos and Amazon.com. All teams will henceforth expose their data and functionality through service interfaces. If there's one thing Jeff valued more than anything else, it had to be data. He knew that if you have data on anything, you inherently win.
Well, 3 years ago, I was in New York City working for a quantitative hedge fund when I came across the startling statistic that web usage was growing at 2,300% a year. So I decided I would try and find a business plan that made sense in the context of that growth. And I picked books as the first best product to sell online, which making a list of like 20 different products that you might be able to sell.
Before starting Amazon.com, Jeff worked at D. Shaw & Co. He was so good at his job that he quickly rose to the position of vice president at only 30 years old. His job was to identify and analyze new businesses in the tech sector, which involved gathering data and analyzing numbers. From this, he discovered the internet and its massive potential. Leading him to start Amazon.com and grow it into the e-commerce giant it is today. But there is a part of the story that's not well known. In the first years of business at Amazon.com, Jeff Bezos had his employees collect data on consumer behavior while browsing the site. He had them track how long they stayed on the site, how long they looked at an item, what they ordered, what they left in their cart, and how many times they visited the site during the day. And Jeff, along with his chief scientist, would spend hours studying the data to help them predict what books the customer would like to read next. To Jeff, there was nothing wrong with trying to help a customer pick a new book, but to some of his staff, it seemed like invading a customer's privacy.
Alexa, do you work for the CIA?
No, I'm not employed by them. I'm made by Amazon.
Alexa, does the CIA get information from Amazon?
I'm not sure what you meant by that question.
Alexa, can the CIA get information from Amazon? Alexa, can the CIA get information from Amazon? Alexa, can the CIA get information from Amazon?
I'll let you be the judge of that. But from collecting data on customers to Alexa recordings leaking, Amazon seems to have little regard for customer privacy. This, however, is contrary to one of the greatest principles Jeff continually emphasized in Amazon.
All right, well, the first thing I know is that you need to obsess over customers. Obsessive, compulsive focus on the customer. We have put customers first.
He even had an empty chair in every meeting to symbolize the importance of thinking about the customer. However, this is not a bad thing, but at this point, all this is about to lead to massive problems.
We work like a dog there. We work very hard.
We're all fed up. It's gotten to this point, it's been boiling up for about...
Time is of the essence right now. People die by the hour.
Guys.
We have no future if we don't take matters into our own hands and take back our lives from a company that continue to dehumanize us for the sake of profit.
While Jeff Bezos and his company have revolutionized how we shop, it's clear that their pursuit for efficiency and profit has come at a very significant human cost. My script for this video was quite long, as I had even investigated on their monopolistic tactics against their competitors, but I wanted to shed light on how every single package delivered means that these are workers striving to meet impossible demands, some suffering severe injuries, and some unfortunately losing their lives. If you want to see more videos like this, consider subscribing, and thank you for watching this video.